Humanity's dramatic accession to the ranks of spacefaring nations caused chaos in all manner of ways. Galactic politics were rapidly reshaped. Human culture and religion had to adapt to the sudden broadening of frontiers, and solutions now were within grasp for dozens of societal issues. But there was a separate mayhem ongoing, generally unnoticed by the average person, within the aerospace world. Conventional rockets, while not necessarily obsolete, were on their way out as national governments and, later, the integrated United Nations Armed Forces sought spaceplane designs that could handle the taxing requirements of orbital flight while delivering cargo and personnel. Initially, especially in the dying days of the Second Haitian War, these were filled by captured Haitian craft and later simple licensed copies. While this arrangement worked perfectly well, humanity will never, ever allow itself to simply use a perfectly good solution when it could spend a hell of a lot of effort to come up with a new, better one. Thus, a whole new generation of craft would be necessary. Programs were initiated, contracts written up, and companies set to work, designing and attempting to sell their own designs. Through this tumultuous process came one singular design, whose legend would far outstrip any competitors. If you have ever considered purchasing a dropship, its name stands out. Whether you're a pilot set to fly shuttles on a new colony, running a search and rescue organization, or an air ambulance, your options unavoidably circle back to it. It, of course, is the US-15 Johnson, Drypool Aerospace's premier product, and named for a historic female aviation pioneer, born just a few miles from Drypool's headquarters. 30 meters long, with a wingspan of just under 25 meters, its wedge-shaped airframe with its chunky yet graceful wings, pointed nose, V-tail, and smooth main body has become an iconic symbol of humanity's presence in the galaxy, directly competing with the United Nations flag, or even Earth itself. A stationary US-15 is considered a thing of beauty, no harsh edges, the blended body design calmly exuding grace. In flight with a skilled pilot, it could arguably be considered a mobile work of art. Of course, it's not nice looks that keep people coming back. It is the functionality that's to blame, and that the US-15 has in spades. 7 fusion-powered engines, 4 air-breathing and 3 vacuum-capable, keep it up and running, supported by a network of microthrusters that give it plenty of exo-atmospheric maneuverability and limited VTOL capability. All this is delivered by a degree of reliability no other design yet has managed. The only realistic limits on its operations, when sufficiently outfitted and maintained, are crew endurance. Beyond that comes adaptability. The Johnson's main body, when fresh out of the factory, is often little more than an empty shell, containing fuel tanks and fusion reactors for the engines, though specialized variants with fixed cabins are also produced. Into this shell slides a mission module, such as a pure cargo bay, a passenger cabin, a mix of the two, or any dozen other specific modules. These are particularly popular among fresh new planetary habitats, where a pair of US-15s can effectively carry out all manner of vital operations, transitioning from aerial firefighting one moment to shuttling cargo across world. Though a dedicated search and rescue US-15, with its powerful radar and wing mounts for deploying aid, will always outperform an SAR mission module, the latter is more than cost-effective enough for a world in the initial stages of development and habitation. Its capacity is impressive. A military purpose-built US-15 can be reliably expected to carry a single Wolverine MBT, along with a section's worth of infantry and a day's worth of supplies to a planetary surface. Alternatively, it can bring 90 infantry to bear, often in the form of the famed jet jumpers of the 101st Airborne Corps, with the same craft being able to perform multiple such deployments before it must refuel. The MS-15, its medical equivalent, can care for a platoon of casualties, no matter the species, and is a regular sight whenever UN forces deploy for emergency relief purposes. The US-15 family's general reliability has meant that several relief efforts for tropical storms have begun work even while the storm is overhead. And the US-15 is often the first sign of aid to beleaguered populations. The crew, of course, get reasonable amenities. The default model's 4 beds, a kitchenette, and a bathroom with a shower and a fold-up toilet, while hardly palatial, offer enough comfort to the 3-person crew and are sufficient during long-haul flights with hot bunking. All this is contained in the flight deck, along with a whole host of sensors and powerful communications equipment. Grav plating and thrust compensators, combined with synth leather seating, mean that shirt sleeve piloting is extremely comfortable, though proper flight suits are generally recommended. In terms of production, the US-15 is unsurpassed. It has become the longest continually produced transport aircraft in human history, beating all competitors. Drypool Aerospace alone have produced 4,876 models to date, though their willingness to license production elsewhere has likely made the true total impossible to determine. US-15s of all specializations fly everywhere, civilian models ranging from commercial passenger aircraft to scientific craft to airborne firefighters. Drypool Aerospace even maintains a separate, though much lower rate production line, dedicated to both ultra-luxurious VIP transports and mobile home-style craft. In the Commonwealth, US-15s have become dominant, leading one Drypool employee to famously comment, "Now that we've sold dropships to the Hicatians, I'm off to sell water to the whales." Models have even made it across the line and into the hands of the Union of Alinea, though Drypool Aerospace has made clear that it is only to civilian users, with models being somewhat stripped down to limit technology harvesting. Persistent rumors suggest this is a front for United Nations External Security Service operations in Union space, though Drypool have consistently threatened litigation against those who publicly allege this, for implying we would grass. With its excellent performance, unmissable history, and iconic design, it's not hard to see why the US-15 dominates. But, just in case you needed one last incentive, every single purchase comes with a complimentary hand-crafted dashboard model of the GIJoeVibin Jason, the craft which delivered the Johnsons' namesake halfway across the world. Amy Johnson once said, "I think it is a pity to lose the romantic side of flying and to simply accept it as a common means of transport. Although, that end is what we have all ostensibly been striving to attain." In the age of cheap space travel, it would seem that the romance is indeed gone. And yet, every time a US-15 takes off from a dirt airstrip, every time one plunges into the heart of a terrible storm, every time a pilot ducks and weaves it through the Baraganov River run, that spark is kept alive just a little longer. And that pioneering spirit carries on. Author's name and the link to original text is in the description. Consider tapping the thumbs up and pressing the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video.